Here we go again. Yo, what's up? What's up? It's Coach Nick Money in the house with the one, with the only DBL Nick.
In the house.
In the house. Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready for the show? Alrighty, so today is going to be a rather action-packed a series, right? Episode,
Yes.
right, Doubles? We're going to go over some pretty interesting stuff. We're going to briefly talk about some of the movers that moved parabolically in the microcap world, and then take a look at SPY, the overall Standard & Poor's index fund, and talk about that briefly. But then we're going to do a deep dive into AI, artificial intelligence, baby. Artificial intelligence. So, if you're not subscribed to the YouTube channel, go ahead and subscribe if you don't mind, and do what this young man says, please.
Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, as well as ring that bell icon to stay notified when new videos are uploaded. And remember to share.
Because you know, sharing is caring, Doubles.
Sharing is indeed caring.
Yes, it is. It helps us put out more content for you.
Yes,
so,
sirree.
yeah, thank you. Please share. Please
Yes,
share.
please share,
If
please
you're
share.
not following on X.com, Twitter, it's at Coach Nick Money.
At Coach Nick Money.
And also on Twitch at Coach Nick Money.
At Coach Nick Money.
Facebook at Coach Nick Money.
At Coach Nick Money.
Instagram at Coach Nick Money.
At Coach Nick Money.
And then TikTok,
Tiki taki tiki taki.
it's at DBL
At
Nicks.
DBL Links.
And the screen name is Coach Nick Money. Okay.
Coach Nick Money.
And of course, we have a link in the description and in the pinned comment for you. So if you'd like to join our Discord, you can do that. That's where we call a lot of bangers a lot of times. It's a special for 4-day trial of the Discord. We do a lot of stuff in there, live streaming, sharing our entry and exits on various trades, constant alerting and monitoring of the small cap market from 4 a.m. in the morning all the way to 8 p.m. in the evening. An entire team, Doubles, an entire team making sure that we're always getting those bangers, baby.
Banger after
Bangers. Banger after banger after banger. So let's get it right into it, because I really want to jump into this stuff about the AI, Doubles. I'm excited about it. I'm excited, you know?
Oh, yeah.
So let's go over a little bit about the microcaps. So we had we had a whole bunch actually, but just three particular microcaps that went up astronomically were SEAL, SEEL, SEEL, and you can see the chart here. It faded away later on in the day, but we caught it right early in the morning. Doubles.
Yay.
And of course, it ran parabolic, ran very parabolic. They had news out that their shares were basically trading higher, Doubles, because the company announced that it had signed a material transfer agreement to supply SLS-002 for the Department of Defense military
Yes.
and Veterans Adaptive Platform clinical trial for PTSD. And it ran, I don't know, DBL Moms, how far did it run? 178%. That was that baby, just a baby.
It ran
And
up 178.
yeah, and then we also had MSS was another one. I mean, we had more than that, but we're just gonna review some of the big ones, right? And then of course we called all the stuff right when it first happened. So MSS ran 160%, 160%. Yeah, 160%. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was based on increased earnings for Q1. So we caught that early for the Discord.
Yes.
And then there was also BNZI.
BNZI.
BNZI. Yeah.
sir.
Yeah. BNZI. That ran 160%.
160%.
160%. Ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
I love when that happens. Don't you love when that happens?
Oh,
DBL
I love
Moms.
when that happens.
Don't
DBL
you
Moms.
love when that happens? I absolutely love that. Okay, and those shares were were trading higher after the company announced a $24.8 million debt payoff and restructuring agreement with insiders of the company. Yeah, baby. So that's pretty good news, right? Some pretty good news. Of course, there was the huge sell-offs after that happened, but that's what happens with these microcaps. I don't marry them, I date them, and then if they don't do the right thing by me, I say sayonara.
You love 'em
Sayonara.
and you leave 'em.
Mhm.
You don't even want them?
That cold drink hits different. Oh my.
Yes, sir.
Oh my. All right, let's get into what we really want to talk about today, Doubles.
Ooh.
Okay?
AI?
What we're going to talk about is artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence. Yeah, baby. Yeah.
Oh.
And before we do that, I want to mention Spy. All right? Standard & Poor's. And, you know, NVIDIA is part of Spy, and they are heavily involved with artificial intelligence, and they are, you know, pretty powerful stonk nowadays because of that. So if we go over to a 20-day chart, you can see that Spy has been pushing up, not necessarily because of AI, but, you know, just wanted to make a little note of the fact that the overall market is moving uptown.
Yeesh.
A little choppy with the microcaps, but you know that's cyclical.
Yeah.
Right? So anyway, let's get into the conversation about artificial intelligence. So we're going to come from a very different angle, Doubles. Okay?
Yes.
I did some research. I did some homework.
Yeah.
You know, I got my scholarly, pencil out.
Oh,
Not my graffiti pencil, my scholarly pencil.
the scholarly
right?
pencil.
And I did some research on artificial intelligence and some of the unexpected effects that it has on society. And the
Yes.
reason why I got motivated to do this, Doubles, do you want to know why?
Why?
I'm going to tell you. I'm
Why,
glad
why,
you
why?
asked. And let's share this, folks.
Let's share.
Let's share. Let's share. Come on,
Whoa.
let's have a share party.
What we
yeah.
got?
Well, today there was a meeting at the United Nations.
Okay.
And President Biden attended the meeting, and he said something that was quite interesting. He said that there's a need to have global rules for artificial intelligence. And he said something that struck me quite profoundly.
Okay.
He said we will see more changes brought on by AI in the next 2 to 10 years than we have seen in the past 50 years. I mean, and that kind of like struck me kind of hard because 50 years puts us into the 1970s. You know, that's a long time ago.
Yeah.
And a lot has changed since the
1970s.
1970s. Not that I was around in the 1970s, because, you know, I'm a young bunkin, young
Yes.
bunkin.
Yes.
And if you say anything otherwise, you're not old enough to not get punished, my dear son.
Oh.
So let's keep it orderly, young man. Let's keep it
I wasn't
orderly.
gonna say anything, but
Yeah. I'm just saying, because I saw the eyes. I saw the eyes.
what eyes?
You gave me the eyes, you know,
Yeah,
the
I
little
didn't give him
rolls.
the eye.
You gave me the rolls, you know what I mean?
Hello.
Yeah, okay. All
Yes.
right. Yeah, right.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's pretty intense. The
That's
next 2 to
crazy.
10 years, we're going to see more changes than we saw in the past 50 years.
That's
What do you guys
crazy
think about
work.
that? Put your comments in the chat.
Put it in
Ume's
the
in the house. What's up,
chat.
Ume? How are you?
Hello. Ume.
Welcome. Put your comments in the chat about that because I'm going to do a deep dive in this with my
Yes.
boy DBL.
I
Nix.
mean, I've seen some things emerging from AI. Like they have this one software called c.ai, which is basically you could talk to your favorite video game or television characters or AI that's imitating your favorite video game and television characters. And people do that. I
Well,
don't-
that's pretty
I heard
interesting
about
that you
that.
mentioned audio and speaking because
Yeah.
the angle that I'm going to take with this
And
conversation
text.
is going to have something to do with that. So
Oh.
let's do a dive. So
right.
so I did some research, ladies and gentlemen,
Yes.
and we basically I found an article that our boy Mark Zuckerberg from Meta, aka Facebook.
Oh, the same one that's building the nuclear bunker.
Yeesh, the one that
Yeesh.
built the nuclear bunker that we talk about,
The
the bunker
nuclear
that we
bunker.
talked about yesterday.
The bunker.
He has an AI bot for Facebook,
Okay.
and he has worked out an arrangement with various famous people
All right.
to where they are basically providing their voice for the AI bot. So you have the option to select the person that you want to speak to you when you're doing your inquiries or queries with the Meta AI bot.
Yeah.
So, for example, one person that he entered into an agreement with is John Cena. You probably know John Cena because you love wrestling. And,
Yes, I do.
and for those of you who don't know John Cena is a famous WWE wrestler, right?
Yes, famous
World
WWE
Wrestling
wrestler,
Entertainment,
actor,
right?
whole 9 yards.
Yeah, yeah. He's a pretty famous guy.
He's pretty famous.
Who may agree the world is going to change both in positive and negative ways. That is, I think that's 100% accurate.
Yeah.
And we're going to delve into some of the not so savory components of it in about a second.
Yeah. So you mean to tell me that I can go on a Facebook
Yep.
and I could talk to John Cena? Well, not John Cena, but AI John Cena.
Yeah, when you go and do a query with their AI bot,
Yeah.
you could set it to have the voice of John Cena. He has donated, his engrams or whatever you would call it. I don't know what you would call it, but his vocals.
His vocal cords.
And the Meta AI bot will speak to you and sound like John Cena or whomever you select. I think they have like 5 or 6 people that they've picked, and I recognize John Cena, so I figured I'd mention that. So that's kind of an interesting little twist to the AI, artificial intelligence, as it pertains to speech and voice recognition and things of that nature. But what I wanted to really deep dive into is that there are scamsters that are capturing voices and using AI to scam people. Did you guys know that? Did you know that?
I'm not surprised, considering the fact that for a time on the internet, people were basically taking AI voices of like celebrities, politicians, etc.
Right.
And they were making these little parody videos. In some cases, they had one series of videos called U.S. Presidents Play, and it had the past 3 presidents of the United States playing a video game of your choice, be it a horror game or something else. And it was obviously satire, it was obviously parody, but they used the AI presidents. They used the president's voices.
I saw that. But usually you could kind of tell that it's AI.
I mean, I could tell it's AI.
You know what I mean?
Sort of, yeah.
But if what was said in the United Nations today, that they're going to have such a massive acceleration, it's just a matter of time where it's going to become very, very difficult to tell the difference between AI voices and an actual person. I mean, I've seen commercials with famous people supposedly selling crypto, but it's obvious that it's AI because the voice is just not exactly the way it's supposed to be.
And they use the face too.
And yeah, they use the AI to create the face as well. But specifically, today I want to talk about the audio component because I did a very deep dive in this, right?
Ooh,
So let's talk about that.
All right.
Let's talk about that.
All right.
So AI-enabled voice cloning is what it's called.
Yeah.
And it's emerged as a pretty powerful tool for cyber criminals to commit financial fraud by basically impersonating individuals and manipulating other people into sending money or disclosing sensitive information like your social security number, security words or security codes, security numbers, etc. Right?
Yeah.
And this fraud technique capitalizes on advancements in what's called deep fake audio technology.
I've heard of that.
And it's making it easier than ever for criminals to basically capture, synthesize, and manipulate a victim's voice. How about that? Okay.
I mean, I've heard about deepfake. I mean, they have deepfakes for voices, but they also have deepfakes for faces.
I've seen stuff like that.
They could put someone else's face over their face, and
oh wow!
Immediately, what I thought about was Snapchat. Because in Snapchat there was a filter, right? Where you and like another person would like stand next to each other, right? You hold your phone, and then it swaps your faces, and then whenever you talk, it uses the person who's next to you's face, and you're the one that's talking though.
Wow.
Right.
Wow.
And vice versa, and
augmented reality.
That's augmented reality.
Yeah.
And you add that to AI, and next thing you know, boom, bada bing, bada boom, you got yourself a deepfake face, which people can use.
Right.
So
Well, I mean,
that's
this
crazy.
is pretty elaborate stuff. I mean, wait until I get into some of the juicy stuff, Double. So here's how some of these scams work, right? So what the scamster will do is they'll collect your voice sample. Right, and the way they do that is they go through various mechanisms to locate your voice, like social media. So if you're putting out content like we are, social media is one way. It could be audio, it could be video content, could be a prank phone call where they record your voice, or any platforms where the person's voice is available. For example, if someone posts videos online, their voice can easily be extracted and fed into AI algorithms.
Wow.
Okay.
So you mean to tell me even if I post a video online,
or you answer the phone,
and
it's one of those robocalls, and you think that it's relatively innocuous and innocent, but in reality, they're capturing your voice, getting your voice engrams, and repurposing them to do something nefarious and something criminal. How about that? Okay.
That's crazy.
There's also something called voice cloning, where they use AI algorithms like deep learning models, right? And criminals can clone the victim's voice. These models analyze the pitch, the tone, the accent, the speaking pattern, and allowing the system to generate really realistic speech that mimics the targeted victim. How about that?
I mean, they had something like that in a game that I played. It was called Detroit Become Human. Good game. It's basically about these AI, right? And they basically AI is struggling to blend in with humanity, and they look like people, they sound like people, but they're AI. They're robots.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And one of the things that the AIs can do is they could change their appearance, but also they can change their voice.
Yeah.
So they can actually get through. In one scene, they were trying to get through like a government mechanism that could basically that required voice verification.
Wow.
Yeah.
No kidding.
And that was just a video game.
Folks, let's share this, right? Let's share this. Let's get some more folks in here so we get some opinions. Let's get some more opinions. Let's share the stream. Let's go ahead and share it.
You mean to tell me that's getting real?
Without a doubt. And here's what they basically do. When they've cloned the voice, when these criminals have cloned the voice, they'll carry out various forms of fraud. Like, for example, they might impersonate a family member.
Wow.
Okay, and they call a relative of the victim, and they mimic their voice in distress, asking for money transfers under the pretense of an emergency, like a medical issue or a car accident.
Oh my God.
Right, so that's one way that they do it. Right, here's another common scam, and this has to do with bank fraud. Right, they basically can impersonate a victim in a phone call with their bank or financial institution and request wire transfers or changes to account details. How about that?
Yeah.
Okay. And then it can go even higher. It can go to the level of basically committing a fraud with companies, right? So corporate fraud, right? And these are a little bit more sophisticated schemes where the attackers could target a specific business. For example, a scamster could impersonate a CEO or high-ranking executive and then have this fake voice instruct the financial department of the company to transfer large sums of money to a fraudulent company and basically fleecing the company of its money. How about that?
Crazy.
Yeah, pretty crazy stuff out there, right?
So be careful if you get a call from Jeff Bezos, all right?
There you go. Now, here's the thing, Doubles. It's funny because a lot of times when there's negative things, there's also opportunities that arise from it, and I'm going to get into that. And that's where the financial component and the investment component comes into play. But I don't want to jump ahead, Doubles. I don't want to jump ahead.
Yeah.
All right. But let's talk about some of the things that are being done to combat this type of fraud. Right. So one of the things that's happening is something called advanced authentication. Okay,
Yeah.
so traditional identity verification methods like phone-based voice recognition or single-factor authentication are proving inadequate against sophisticated AI-driven voice cloning. So as a result, businesses and financial institutions are adopting multi-factor authentication, or what they call MFA systems, that provide an additional layer of security over the security that already exists. So that multi-factor authentication requires the user, or MFA if you will, the user to confirm their identity through two or more independent methods, such as biometric verifications like a facial recognition, like they do with I think the iPhone does that, right?
The iPhone does that.
The iPhone does that.
I'm pretty sure certain Samsungs do that too.
And Ume says these frauds are already happening at early stage of AI.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
This is just the beginning.
Oh yeah.
This is just the beginning, and you know, if what was said in the United Nations is accurate, and I believe it is, I have a feeling that the technology will just grow geometrically. You know, the world is going to be a very different place just within a few years. You know, so you know, we have to start adapting to it, I guess. You know, the best you can, and I guess the best way to do that is through knowledge and having conversations like this. You know, with the Indelible Pride community.
Of course. Right,
and you know, just finding out more and more information about it. So anyway, this multifaceted, multi-factor authentication, the MFA mechanism to counteract this uses one way that they do that is through biometric verification through either a fingerprint or facial recognition. So I use that with my phone, the fingerprint. Some people use the facial recognition on their iPhone, right? iPhone. So here's some technology that could potentially really increase the value of Apple, I would say, right, with the iPhone.
Oh yeah,
right?
Of course.
But that and making a request is while the person is physically present, right? So you know you can't remotely make your request. You have to be present to provide the fingerprint or the facial recognition, and obviously the fingerprint is unique to the person, right? So that's one thing that they have. Also, they could start using more of these one-time passcodes. You know what that is, right?
Oh, when you sign in for like a social media or something, and they're like, "Oh, we're sending you a message to your phone. It's going to have a series of numbers. You got to put the numbers in.
We're going to text it to you.
We're going to text it to you."
And also authentication apps that are being created, which provide a secondary way to confirm your identity. So you actually have an app that's uniquely used by you to authenticate that it is you.
Google actually created something like that. They created Google Authentication.
What is that?
Basically, what it is it's an app, right? I use it for Call of Duty, actually.
Oh, really?
To log into my Call of Duty account. And basically what it does is after you've signed in with your login and your password, you have to access this app, right? And the app is basically connected. It's Google Authentication. What it does is it connects to your account and gives you a temporary temporary one-time passcode that lasts for like a couple of seconds or a minute or however long it lasts, and you got to put it in that amount of time before it changes again, and it changes every minute on the minute.
Right.
Every couple of seconds, it'll do that. So
well, check this out. Another mechanism that's available is kind of like going back to the old school stuff. I actually had something like this, hardware tokens, right? So I had a bank. I don't remember which bank it was, but it was a business account, and they gave me a physical token, and that physical token acted as the way it worked with that was it acted as a key to open up a specific passcode that only a person with the fob, right, with the security, with the fob, only that person would have access to the security code.
Yes.
Right?
I can't mimic that. Yeah.
Right. So you have to physically have the fob in your possession. I mean, unless somebody steals it.
Yeah, exactly.
So anyway, what they're doing now is they're using USB keys instead of the actual fobs or smart cards. And it requires a physical interaction, like you got to press a button, which is what we used to have with the fob, with the bank account that I had way back when. And this was going back quite a few years ago. So they were kind of like ahead of their time, even though it's like old school type of technology. And the risk of fraudulent access, even with WASP cloning, is diminished by the fact of having to have that actual fob and interacting with that fob or that USB or that smart card. So it almost acts like an actual key connected to the person. So these are just some of the things that are happening. And by combining these factors, these MFAs, it greatly reduces the risk of this voice-based fraud, as the cloned voice alone will not be allowed to complete a transaction.
Wow.
So, it's funny because we're using this technology to make things more simple, but in certain ways, because of crime and criminals, it makes it a lot more challenging. You know what I mean? A lot more difficult to to interact, if you will. Right? So that's a potential issue. Okay. There's also voice biometrics that are being used with anti-spoofing technology. So that was kind of another rabbit hole that I went down. Right?
Yeah.
I started going into this pretty deep, Doubles.
He goes into the rabbit holes.
I went into the rabbit hole. And found some carrots.
I've been there too. Yeah.
So anyway, voice biometrics have been used as a security measure in call centers and for phone-based banking systems, analyzing the unique vocal features such as pitch, tone, and rhythm to verify the person's identity, the speaker's identity.
Wow.
But AI-generated voices can sometimes trick these systems because they're that good, and they're getting better. They're getting better.
Oh, yeah.
So what companies are doing to counteract that is they're deploying anti-spoofing technology that can detect synthetic voices, right? So it's like advanced algorithms that are being developed to identify characteristics of synthetic speech, fake speech. Like, for example, the artifacts and inconsistencies, specifically AI-generated voices can lack certain micro-expressions. And obviously that's getting better and better, but they're still not there. And, the natural inconsistencies that are present in human speech can be detected by this anti-spoofing technology.
Ooh,
okay?
Yeah, and they could... And the thing is, we have speech patterns, and people have natural speech patterns, and you could play devil's advocate and be like, well, what if it needs facial recognition? Oh, well, that would require actually having to hack into something and actually do that and deep fake your face and do all this stuff. That's very hard to do. So it would require all that.
But the other component to this anti-spoofing technology and voice biometric technology is something called spectral analysis. So what that does is it again uses anti-spoofing software, and it can analyze sound waves to detect anomalies that indicate a voice has been artificially created or manipulated.
Wow.
So, where there's technology, there could be other technology that can be used for criminal activity, and then there's technology to counteract the criminal activity, and then the criminals will try to figure out how to counteract that. So
it's really just
So it also provides a lot of opportunities for businesses, though.
Yeah. No.
So I'm going to get into that. I'm going to get into that, folks, because this is not just about scams dealing with artificial intelligence pertaining to voice. There's more to this than that. So. The other anti-spoofing technology is something called voice aliveness detection.
All right.
And what this is it's a method that checks whether the voice is being produced by a live speaker or a recording.
Ooh.
Yeah, potentially identifying playback attacks or AI-generated voices. So by incorporating these methods, the companies can enhance their existing voice biometric systems to be more resilient and to be better at AI-driven, detecting AI-driven fraud. Pretty interesting stuff.
That actually counteracts what I originally said.
Yeah. So here's another thing that they're doing, something called AI detection systems, right?
Okay.
So what that is it's in response to the rise of these deep fakes, including voice deep fakes, right? Because the deep fakes could be visual, it could be auditory. There's a whole bunch of different ways that you could have that. There's specialized tools and AI models that are being developed to detect synthetic media in real time. How about that?
Oh, my.
How about that? Okay. And these detection tools analyze speech patterns and audio quality to identify fraudulent voices.
Wow.
How about that? Right? So here's a couple of them. Real-time deepfake detection. Some cybersecurity firms are developing AI models capable of detecting whether audio is synthesized in real time by analyzing subtle distortions that are common in AI generation AI generated voices, but they're not necessarily present in real voices, right?
There's like little micro things that we do.
Micro things that no, I mean, I'm not smart enough to figure that one out, but there's got to be something.
I know what it is.
Yeah?
For example, when we speak, when humans speak, one of the things that we do is we have certain things in our speech that allow our brain to catch up with our mouths, what we're saying. Right? So what I mean by that is, like, people will use certain words to bridge the gaps. Right? So
like but or
or things like that. It's very small and minuscule that you wouldn't notice unless you really, really looked into it. And yeah, I learned that. Strangely, believe it or not, when I was studying up on AI.
No kidding. Yeah.
That there are certain things like that where people will use certain small words to bridge the gaps.
Okay.
And not everybody's gonna, and if you're a criminal who doesn't know the person personally,
you're not going to necessarily know what they're doing.
You're not going to necessarily know that, and these platforms could probably pick up on that. Be like, hey, wait a second, this guy uses words like and but and like and this, that, the third. He's not normally using this.
Well,
vernacular.
you know what? These platforms are using AI to verify voice, and they've started to integrate synthetic voice detection systems, analyzing voice inputs for signs of tampering or non-natural production, which is what you're basically saying. Yeah. So pretty interesting stuff. And what I found out also that was kind of interesting is that financial institutions and call centers are investing in these tools to prevent voice fraud at the point of interaction, providing a technology, like a technological edge in identifying voice cloning attacks. I mean, it sounds to me like it's probably already a multi-billion-dollar industry.
Oh yeah.
And it's just gonna, really take off, and there's going to be a lot of opportunities for the business component of this. It's unfortunate that this goes on, but again, there should be opportunities, and we're going to get into some of the companies that are involved in that in a few minutes. But another thing that is being done is a public awareness campaigns by companies, where companies are educating individuals and businesses about the potential dangers of AI-driven voice fraud. Banks sending out notifications, for example, that's a potential problem.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And it's essential to let people know, because that's a great way to combat it. I mean, if you don't know that this is an issue, you're already automatically at risk, if you will. Right?
Yeah.
And, criminals will often exploit psychological pressure or a sense of urgency in their scams, which is why awareness campaigns are critical in helping people to recognize and avoid these threats from these rotten scoundrels, if you will. You know what I mean? Yeah. So there's key areas to focus in this public awareness. For example, the emergency scams that we mentioned earlier. Yeah. People are being educated to be suspicious of calls when a family member or friend is requesting urgent financial assistance, even if the voice sounds familiar. You got to verify the request through an alternative mean. Say, listen, I got to call you back, and then call their actual phone number to confirm that it's them. Yeah. Yeah. Right?
Yeah. I mean, like, if I'm getting a phone call from, let's say, Coach Nick, and I get a phone call from a number that I do not recognize, I'm sorry. I'm turning that off and calling him on his actual phone. Like, hey,
yeah,
is that you?
Yeah, and the phone number is 1-800 Big Bangers Anonymous. Big Bang
University.
Big Bang University.
1-800.
We call a lot of bangers a lot of times.
Oh yeah.
And if you want to join the Discord, the link's in the description for a 4-day trial with a $199 trial for 4 days, and also in the pinned comment, so that you can get all of our bangers, obviously. So let me remind you that, and if you don't mind, could you share the stream? Let's get some folks in here, because we're sharing some educational information.
And sharing is caring.
Yes, let's do it. Let's do it, baby. Let's go.
Yay.
All right. So anyway, so let me see. I'm looking at my notes here. Another big component to it, like we said earlier, is executives of businesses that are being scammed, right? Or their companies are being scammed because they're creating voice messaging from a supposed CEO of a company, and obviously there's issues with that, right? So what businesses are being warned about is the CEO fraud or executive impersonation, where the fraudsters obviously use cloned voices to direct employees to send money or sensitive information and data. It doesn't even have to be about money. It could be sensitive data that could be quite damaging to the company or to the company's clients, right?
Wow.
So an awareness training program that can help employees identify real red flags, like unusual requests made outside normal procedures. Yes. So that would be another thing. And then, of course, the social media data privacy, right? You got to be, you got to be very careful, and individuals need to be encouraged to limit the amount of personal information they share online, because there's always the potential that criminals are lurking, right? And they can gain voice samples from publicly available recordings to create convincing deep fakes. I mean, these scamsters can be very, very elaborate with their skill set, right? So and that's basically a major component here. A lot of organizations are being encouraged to be much more careful with the privacy of data and restricting access to voice recordings. Okay, yes. All important. Okay, and then another component in the fight against this AI voice scamming problem that has arisen is obviously regulations and laws being promulgated by governments, which was something that was discussed today in the United Nations, right? Wow. So governments and regulatory bodies increasingly recognizing the threat posed by deep fake technology, including AI-generated voices, for fraud, and in response, new laws and regulations have been proposed around the world to address the misuse of AI technology and protect individuals and businesses from such scams. And people like Elon Musk have also spoken about the potential issues that could arise with AI, and if they can get ahead of the game, that would be very, very much better. So here's some legislative actions in the works. There's anti-deep fake laws, right, where countries like the United States have passed or are proposing laws that criminalize the malicious use of deep fakes, including voice cloning, for fraud.
You're going to jail.
You're going to go to jail. You're going to go to jail.
Yes.
James is in the house. What's up, James? I'm subscribing as soon as I get paid. You got it, baby. Gotcha.
Yes, sir.
Been
yes,
busy?
Sir.
So haven't been trading. I hear you, brother. I got you. Yeah. But we're looking forward to seeing you.
We look forward to seeing you.
We're looking forward to it, baby.
Yes.
Yeah. And I hope you're enjoying this show. Just a little bit different, right? So, Coach Dick, money matters. A little bit different. We're hitting it from a different angle.
Of course.
We still got the morning show. The morning show is where we do our analysis of the movers in the microcaps, and we have our Stonk Serengeti specialist with her bushy tail getting us runners for the Indelible Pride. That's the morning show.
A lot of bangers, a lot of time.
But this show's going to be more informational. It'll have to do with finance, but from a different angle. And we're going to talk about some stocks in a bit. I keep saying that, but there's a lot of information I want to get out to the peoples.
Yes,
to the
sir.
peoples, you know.
Yes.
I want to get the information out, you know.
Yes.
Yeah, so anyway, some of the legislation action we talked about is the anti-deepfake laws, okay? Regulation of AI technology. Governments are exploring regulations that govern the creation and use of AI technology, ensuring that the companies develop voice synthesis tools have measures in place to prevent misuse, such as requiring licensing or identity verification for users of voice cloning software.
Yeah.
I mean, that makes a lot of sense.
Oh, of
if you're a criminal, you're not going to want to have your actual identity out there, right? So you're gonna basically, not want to indicate who you are. So if you're forced to disclose who you are, unless you're stealing somebody's identity, which is another issue.
Then
Okay.
then you got no problem.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Unless you're trying to steal somebody's identity.
Yeah,
in which
so
case, don't do that.
here's another thing that the governments are doing, something called data protection regulations, which basically is stronger data privacy laws, such as the General Data Protection Regulation, GDPR in Europe. It helped to reduce the availability of personal data, including voice recordings that criminals could exploit to create clones, stricter control over how voice data is stored, used, and shared, which is crucial to limiting potential abuse, right? So that's also another component. And then you got a collaboration between financial institutions and cybersecurity firms. How about that?
Wow.
Right? Yeah. These financial institutions are partnering with cybersecurity companies and researchers to, stay ahead of fraud trends. So they're it's a constant battle. It's like a battle royale against the scamsters and the people that are trying to prevent the scams, right? And what these collaborations aim to develop is more sophisticated AI detection tools and share threat intelligence to identify emerging methods of AI-driven fraud, including things like voice cloning attacks, which we just spoke about,
yes.
right? So there's some key collaborative efforts that I found out about, right? So, very informational type of stuff here.
Yes.
I mean, you know what I mean? Kind of interesting, right?
Yeah.
So some key collaborative efforts would be threat intelligence sharing. So banks and financial institutions sharing information on fraud trends, including specific AI techniques used by criminals to enhance collective security.
Yep.
Early detection of AI-based attacks can help institutions respond faster and prevent other breaches, right?
Yeah.
Also, fraud analytics and AI models. By using predictive analytics and AI models, financial institutions can detect abnormal transaction patterns that might indicate fraud attempts, such as unusually large transfers or out-of-character account behavior, which can trigger further verification steps. How about that? Right?
Really?
So that's some of the background behind this. I mean, it's pretty extensive stuff.
So if they think you're not acting like yourself, they're gonna be like,
yeah. And folks, put your thoughts in the chat. I'd love to hear what you got to say, and I know DBL Nix wants to know too, because he's got the inquiring mind.
Yes.
The inquiring mind. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So anyhow, that's the story with that. Let's talk a little bit more specifically about the cybersecurity against AI-generated voice deepfake frauds. Okay, it's a huge business.
Very big.
And there's several companies, some of which are publicly traded companies, that are involved or getting involved in this very lucrative industry. And we're talking about a multi-billion dollar, potentially, trillions of dollars in money, because you got to stop this stuff, because people are going to lose money, businesses could lose money, it could also be used to create other types of bad actions, right?
I mean, this could be used to hurt a lot of people.
In a lot of different ways.
While it could benefit people, it can also hurt people.
Absolutely. So here are some of the companies that are actually working in this realm, Doubles. Okay.
All right. Let's see.
And some of them are publicly traded. So one of them is a company called Palo Alto Networks, and the ticker symbol is PANW.
Papa Alpha November
Yeah,
Whiskey.
right over here. So let's go into a 5-minute chart.
5 minute.
And it's a pretty expensive stock at $347 per share on the high side, right? And I think it closed today at $345.52, right? And what Palo Alto Networks is doing is they're a leading global cybersecurity company that provides AI-driven solutions to detect and prevent various forms of cybercrime, right?
Very sophisticated stuff.
Yeah. Yep, absolutely. And the company's invested heavily in artificial intelligence itself to detect sophisticated threats, including deepfake and voice cloning attacks, and provide security solutions for enterprises, financial institutions, and watch this, governments as well.
Ooh, that's
How about that?
Of moolah.
Yep. Now here's an interesting company. This company had a real doozy a couple of months ago. They had a breakdown and their price plummeted. But they're a huge company, Crowdstrike Holdings.
Ooh.
Crowdstrike Holdings, and you could see, if I go 20 days, you could see where the price really came tumbling down significantly. I could go even further than that. We could take a look at that massive drop where it was selling at almost $400, and they had a breach. Right? They had a huge breach. I think it had something to do with Microsoft, whatever the case may be, right? And the price went from $400 to under $200 a share. But CrowdStrike Holdings is involved in this stuff as well, so I'm not really want to focus so much on how bad the stock price dropped after they had that mishap, but I'll tell you a little bit about what they're doing. And again, these are not indications to buy these stocks. I'm not giving financial or stock advice on this.
No.
We're not stock or financial advisors. We're just, having a conversation about companies that are involved in what we were talking about, which is the concern of AI scams pertaining to the manipulation of people's voices, right?
And AI security.
Yeah, and obviously there's going to be cybersecurity in play when you're dealing with these type of issues. So another company would be CrowdStrike, ticker symbol CRWD, and they're known for AI-powered cybersecurity solutions that focus on detecting and responding to cyber threats in real time. Right? They have something called CrowdStrike's Falcon platform, and it uses AI to detect abnormal behavior patterns, which could include voice fraud or deepfake-related threats targeting financial institutions and enterprises.
They fight fire with fire.
Yeah. Now, here's another company, and you guys probably have seen this on television. I see the commercials all the time. Norton LifeLock, okay?
Yes.
Not sure if they're publicly traded or not. I couldn't find a ticker for them, but they were formerly known as Symantec, and they are a global leader in consumer cybersecurity. Yep. And everybody knows Norton, right? Because Norton always had like the antivirus company. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the antivirus.
Ooh.
So Norton provides AI-enhanced identity theft protection, which includes detecting potential deepfake or voice cloning attempts aimed at defrauding individuals or compromising their identity. Okay, so that's Norton. Yep. Another company is out of Britain. It's called Dark Trace.
Ooh,
okay.
That sounds like
and what
metal.
This company does, again, this is an international effort, right? What this company does is it uses AI to detect and prevent cyber threats, including advanced fraud schemes. The company's autonomous response technology can detect AI-generated deepfakes and voice cloning fraud in real time, which is what we were talking about earlier, right?
Yep.
Making it a key player in combating AI-based crimes. How about that?
Wow.
Now, this particular company that I'm going to mention now, right, is kind of interesting because it looks like Fortnite, but it's not. It's Fortinet.
Fortinet.
So if you're Italian, you don't call it Fortnite, you call it Fortinet. Hey, we're gonna go play Fortinet. I gotta build a 1 by 1. I gotta crack at the 90. Because I do the Fortinet, but no, the company is called Fortinet. 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 Ticker symbol FTNT. This one is publicly traded. So this one's trading for about $78, $77. And what they do is they provide a wide range of cybersecurity solutions, and they've integrated AI into products to detect and mitigate cyber threats, including AI-generated fraud. Fortinet's AI-driven analytics are capable of identifying suspicious patterns, which can help businesses protect themselves from emerging deep-fake and voice cloning attacks.
They'll crank 90s on those.
They'll crank 90s on Fortnite as well.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's the Fortinet. So anyway, so that's the story with that company. There's another company called Proofpoint. Proofpoint specializes in protecting businesses from targeted cyber attacks, including email and voice-based phishing schemes, right?
Wow.
So and they do that with AI-based technology. Proofpoint can detect deepfake audio and help businesses prevent executive impersonation or other AI-driven fraud attempts. How about that? Okay.
Yeah.
And then here's another ticker that's publicly traded, VRNT.
Verint Systems.
Yep, and they're trading at around $25 right now, and it's called Verint Systems. It's a global company focused on customer engagement and cybersecurity, offering voice analysis and fraud detection systems. Their solutions help detect and prevent voice fraud in contact centers by leveraging AI to identify synthetic or altered voice patterns. Ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and share that stream. Let's go share it. Share it.
Sharing is key.
And we got a couple more, just a couple more companies, not that many more.
How many more?
Tenable Holdings, another
Tenable
publicly traded company, ticker symbol TENB.
November,
TENB, and this ticker is selling for around $40. Tenable specializes in vulnerability management and threat detection. Although its primary focus is on network vulnerabilities, the company has been expanding its use of AI to detect emerging threats, which could include voice-based fraud in corporate environments. I got to tell you, Doubles, I wonder how much of this technology uses the technology from NVIDIA.
I wonder.
And it just makes me say, I wonder how big NVIDIA is going to be. As a side note, I just heard that the CEO of NVIDIA has stopped selling his shares. So I'm just thinking out loud and saying to myself, I wonder if my NVIDIA shares are going to start going up now since he stopped selling them. Yeah, that's what he said. So I'm hoping that the stonk keeps going up because I got some of that. I don't just trade. I also invest in stonks, Doubles. Yes. Cyberark. Here's another one. Cyberark, CYBR. Let's go ahead and put that in there. CYBR.
Crazy thing. I have a crazy story about that name.
Cyberark?
Cyberark. There's actually a TV show that I watched, and it was basically about an evil AI that was trying to take over humanity, known as the Ark.
No kidding.
I'm like, oh. So as soon as I saw that whole show, I'm like, and that Ark did a lot of evil stuff. So I'm sitting here saying to myself, hold up, Cyberark. Whoa.
Maybe they took inspiration from that. Maybe. Right? Could it be? Could be. So this is a Doubles. This company is currently selling for about $285 a share. Certainly not in the realm of microcap stocks that we play around with. They are a leader in identity security and privilege access management, and it includes protecting businesses from unauthorized access or impersonation through AI-driven fraud detection. So CyberArk's tools help to mitigate risks related to social engineering attacks, including those that use AI-generated voices to impersonate executives or employees. So a lot of these companies are not just limited to dealing with, the voice spoofing and the voice impersonation scams, but, it's a component of what they do, right? Here's another one, Splunk. Splunk, SPLK. SPLK. And it's selling for about $157.
$157.
It is known for its data analytics solutions, but it also provides AI-driven cybersecurity tools that can detect anomalies in user behavior, including those resulting from AI-driven voice fraud. Again, another company that does more than just that, but this is a component of what they do. So they analyze patterns and detect unusual activities. And Splunk is basically, it helps enterprises combat fraudulent activities, including those that involve deepfake technology, right? And then here's a company that everybody knows, right? Cisco. CSCO. And that stonk is at around $53. $50.
$50.
$53.
Yay.
So they offer a wide range of cybersecurity services, including powered threat detection. So Cisco solutions are designed to defend against emerging threats like AI-generated voice fraud by identifying anomalies in the communication and data transfer. Wow. How about that? Okay. And then everybody knows McAfee. McAfee provides comprehensive security solutions for both businesses and consumers. The company's advanced threat detection technology uses AI to protect against fraud attempts, including voice cloning and deepfake attacks. How about that?
Yes.
Right? Yeah. So that's basically the story. That's the story. And what else we got? We got BlackBerry. The old BlackBerry, the phone.
Is that the phone?
The phone. Hey, do you remember the story about BlackBerry? Your grandmother had the BlackBerry phone.
I was just thinking about that.
Oh my God, guys! I gotta digress. You guys want a story? Let me give you a story. Can I tell the story?
Oh yeah. Go ahead.
We went to this amazing Italian restaurant, and we've been telling my mother-in-law, Nicholas's grandmother, listen, you need to get yourself, you know, a phone that has a screen. You know, the BlackBerry is kind of outdated. You know, nobody does that. She's like, no. I like to be able to type. I have nails. I can't type on a screen. She's telling me every single reason why she should not get rid of the BlackBerry. And I said to her, listen, it's a brick. And she's like, what are you talking about?
It's a brick.
What are you talking about? It's not a brick. It's not a brick. I'll get my chicletta out. Yes. The bushy-tailed Sarigati specialist got it from her mother. Yes. Okay. True story.
You're terrified.
Yes. Be very, very terrified, I would say.
Yes.
So, anywho, what happens is we're at the restaurant, and
the waiter gives
circumstances happen for a reason.
I mean,
the waiter gave us all water.
Oh yes.
And she goes and pulls her BlackBerry out.
And she's talking about it. She's trying to defend it.
And she's defending it, and she's shaking it in front of her.
In front of us.
And it slips out of her hand. And where does it go, Doubles?
In the water.
Right into the water. Okay? And now
God.
She's completely freaking out.
I'm like, so you want to get an iPhone now?
And she said, and she turned beet red. And she threw the chancleta. You dodged it. You dodged it.
No, it flew back
but
around
it came back.
Anyway.
It came back like a boomerang and hit you in the back of the head.
Oh yeah.
And then went right back into her pocket.
Oh yeah.
Because she's got that kind of technology.
It was. Can I just say it was worth it?
It was worth it. So I mean, she wouldn't give up on the BlackBerry. She had me take the BlackBerry and put it in a bucket of rice so that the water could be sucked out. I had a hairdryer. You know, I was having like a 70s moment thinking that it was like, what's the guy's name? John Travolta from Saturday Night Fever, blow drying his hair. No, not me. I'm blow drying the BlackBerry.
We're trying to give it CPR. That ain't working. I'm like,
anyway.
Grandma, it's dead. It's gone.
It's gone. Beep, 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 baby.
It's gone. It's gone.
But you know what?
It ain't working.
She ended up getting the iPhone reluctantly.
Oh yeah.
Reluctantly,
she fell in love with
and now every 5 minutes she's.
Hey Siri.
Siri, can I do this? Siri, do that. Right, and she's on it with Facebook and TikTok. I can't get her off TikTok. Oh my God, she's a TikToker. She's a TikToker.
She loves a TikTok.
Oh my.
I showed her the YouTube. Oh my God, she loves the YouTube.
YouTube's unbelievable for her.
She's like, I don't need YouTube. I'm like, no.
YouTube.
I like it. I showed her favorite music, and she's like, I love YouTube.
I love YouTube.
She's addicted now.
So I think she's like very much into the Bee Gees.
The Bee Gees.
How deep is your love? Is your love? Is your love? Yeah, like that type of stuff. I like the Bee Gees. They're all right. They're all right. They're all right. But anyway, to wrap it up, folks, these companies are leveraging AI and machine learning to address the rising threat of AI-generated voice fraud and deepfake attacks as cyber threats evolve. And these firms continue to innovate and enhance their capabilities to protect individuals, businesses, and financial institutions from sophisticated fraud schemes. But I think that this is just the beginning. And I think that this is going to be a pretty large market in the stock market. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see some of these tickers in the microcaps.
Ooh,
Yeesh. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's the show. Would you kindly give us a subscription on YouTube? That would be nice. Listen to this fella right here.
Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, as well as ring that bell icon to stay notified when new videos are uploaded. And remember to share.
Because sharing is caring, folks. Sharing is caring. And, of course, if you're not following us on X.com, a.k.a. Twitter, what are you doing?
What are you doing?
Go ahead and drop a follow at Coach Nick Money.
At Coach Nick Money.
At Coach Nick Money. And, of course, also on Twitch at Coach Nick Money.
At Coach Nick Money.
And, of course, we're on Facebook and Instagram at Coach Nick Money.
At Coach Nick Money.
And TikTok, it's at DBL Nicks.
At DBL Nicks.
At DBL Nicks. And the screen name is Coach Nick Money. And again, if you want to check out our Discord, we have a special going on for 4 days, $1.99 for 4 days. It will give you access to the Discord, the private channels, where you'll have access to all the parabolic runners that we capture and alert, as well as our live streaming, where we go real deep into explaining what we're doing, what we're looking at, and real-time explanation of the plays that we're thinking about getting into.
Yes.
And, of course, we're monitoring the microcap market from 4 a.m. Eastern Standard Time all the way to 8 p.m. Who does that, Doubles?
Who does that?
We do.
Yes.
Yeesh. All right, so that's the story. We love you, folks. It's Coach Nick Money. Make a lot of money. Because I am Coach Nick Money, and I'm with my compatriot,
DBL Nicks in the house.
and he's going to tell you to be
greenable.
Yeah.
Yeesh.
All right, we love you guys. Have a great evening. We'll see you in the morning with some more bangers. Bangonomic University in play. Bye for now,